So now we're ready to talk about our speaking strategy. And in this lesson, we are reminded that public speaking is not mandatory. It is an optional strategy. So everything that we've covered up to this point is mandatory. We must have a solid foundation. We must have a red velvet rope policy. We need to have a target market. We need to be able to talk about what we do without sounding bland, boring, or confusing. We need to be able to put our prospects into a sales cycle that makes sense so they can invest in us based on the level of trust that we have earned. And we need to have a networking strategy, a direct outreach strategy, and a referral strategy. Now that we reach this strategy, the balance of the strategies are 100% optional. You only do strategies based on what resonates with you. So if public speaking is not a strategy that we feel comfortable with, then we have guidelines to follow, but you don't have to do it. However, there is no quicker way to make a serious impact on a large group of people than using this strategy. And this strategy displays who you are and what you know. And who knows what you know is critical. So there are 4 strategies. First, we speak to self-promote and share our fruit of knowledge. Second, we get booked to speak by identifying the organizations who serve our target market. Third, we use the 6-step guide to organizing our presentation. And fourth, we deliver a message and make it sizzle. So, we speak in order to self-promote and offer the fruit of our knowledge. The point is not to sell. We add value to our presentations by stating what we know and how we believe it can help our audience. So we show, we don't tell. We share with our audience what we know by showing our audience how we might do something. We share with them by showing them how to rather than telling them how great we are. This is not about self-aggrandizement. It is an opportunity for us to share what we know and not to sell what we have. We add the value by way of invitation. We host our own talks as well as speak at others' events. We can do this simply by going to a local library or some other community center and inviting people to listen to our talk. And then we look at giving a 45-minute talk or presentation on a specific area of expertise, such as Book Yourself Solid. We identify different conference calls that we could also host. And of course, we use the always have something to invite people to offer, which might be a free conference call, or it could also be a free in-person weekly event or monthly event. Again, the most important thing about the always have something to invite people to is that it's consistent and it's frequent. Sometimes churches or clubs are looking for speakers, so this is another idea. Or perhaps you organize a retreat for a day or two of learning, coupled with some type of, boating or hiking or skiing or something like that. We create a list of the opportunities to invite our target market to where we can share our knowledge. We don't sell from the stage because selling is very different from public speaking. You can promote when it's appropriate, and there's nothing wrong with perhaps at the end of your discussion or the end of your presentation, you will definitely want to let them know how to get in touch with you. But at this point, our strategy is about speaking, not really selling our wares. And in order to get invited to speak, we have to identify the types of organizations and associations who serve our target market and let them know that we're available and that we would like to speak. And we do this through working through a hierarchy. We begin on a local level, then a regional level, and then perhaps onto national events. And the reason we do this is we need to hone our skills in order to progress as a speaker. We start on the easy ground first. We identify nonprofit organizations or community groups. Have a topic in mind, and then you call and let the organizer know what you have to offer, and then simply ask if they're looking for speakers. We identify then for-profit organizations that we can provide assistance to and speaking to. Then once we have fine-tuned our skills on a local basic level, we identify regional and trade associations. Once we've progressed through that level of expertise, then we are ready to move on to national associations and organizations. So we identify the individuals who book these events. We put their name on our direct outreach list of 20, and we get to know them so that we can get on their list of speakers. Another way to get in front of audiences is to be promoted by others. When you are in charge of the event, you are in charge, and you set the pace, you set the agenda. However, if you are invited to speak in front of someone else's audience, you have to pay. Usually you have to pay for those speaking events. And you don't typically pay up front, but what happens is that you usually pay on the back end. So if it's a multi-speaker event or some type of mastermind series, typically the organizer will take 50% of whatever your sales are as a result of this event, and then you get 50%. And the reason the organizer or promoter takes 50% is because his responsibility is to fill the seats and provide the audience, and your responsibility is to show up and sell materials, and in this way both you and the organizer win. When you speak, we need to have a system to personalize, tantalize, and build expectation and motivate towards action. So we have a 6-step guide to organizing our presentation. So the first thing is that we tell them, the audience, the takeaway. For example, today you are going to learn how to recruit and retain the top talent in your industry, would be what the audience can expect, the takeaway. Second, we set the stage and create interest. And we do this by telling a story. Next, we share our basket of goodies. This is where we share our knowledge, our how-to. Here are the 5 principles you must follow if you want to recruit and retain the top talent in your industry, would be an example. Then we summarize the key points at the end, tell them what we're going to tell them, and then tell them what we told them is this methodology. So after we have summarized the key points, we remind them of the key points. Then fifth, we save time for question and answer if it is appropriate. We may not do this from the stage, and in fact, some find it to not be very helpful or productive. But if question and answer is part of what the organizer desires, then it's important to leave time for questions and answers. And then finally, step number 6 is that we close. We thank our audience and then invite them to connect by letting them know how to connect with us. We refer them to information that we have available. We refer them to our website. We give them our email address. Whatever it is, we invite them to connect with us. So, how easily can you summarize what you do by following the 6-step formula? And then the final and most important thing, or as important, is that we don't forget to make it sizzle. We should be permanently tweaking our presentation so that it's memorable, improving it as we do it. We should be learning from our presentation. So in summary, we speak at our own events or as a guest speaker at others' events. We identify the organizations who serve our target market, and we organize our presentation by using the 6 steps we outlined. Telling our audience what they should take away from the presentation or speech, setting the stage and creating interest, sharing the information we have prepared in a way that is easy to understand, summarizing the key points at the end, saving time for question and answer if it is appropriate, close by thanking them and letting them know how to connect with us. Finally, we deliver a message by making it memorable. And that, my friends, is public speaking.